Hello, Jaime.
Sure. How are you?
Good. How is everything? How is everything? How are you? Can you listen, Jaime? Do you listen? Jaime. Hello, hello. Can you listen to me?
Yes, teacher. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, yes. Hello,
Okay,
Carolina.
teacher.
Hello, teacher.
How are you today?
I'm kind of tired and sick a little bit.
Sick? Sick
Yes.
of what?
I don't know. I think that it's a stress because my parents they had a surgery like this week, both of them. So it's been like a hard time for me.
Yes, it is. It must be.
Mhm. Yes.
Teacher,
Yeah.
are, are you in the balcony in
Yes,
your
because
house?
it is hot.
It's a good play for teaching.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
It is my first time in a balcony. Giving a class in a balcony. My
uh,
first time.
fresh.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yes.
Good evening, teacher.
Hello, Rafael. How are you?
I'm Rafael, and I'm really good because I'm really sick of my voice, and I'm like voiceless today. Um, you know, um, when the vocal cords are really bad.
Terrible,
Yeah,
man. So
yeah, I'm voiceless.
you are going to be quiet today.
Yeah, quiet because my throat, my mouth hurts a lot,
Mm,
aches a lot. Sorry. So, teacher, I'm letting you know for you to know, and you excuse me because I can't participate too much today in class.
okay, don't worry about that.
I hope you understand this.
Yeah, I understand.
Thank you very much, teacher.
Okay.
You have a very good view, by the way. Very
I
nice
think so.
view.
I think so.
It's it's windy here. It's windy there.
Not now.
Yeah. No?
No,
Okay.
not right
It
now.
seems like it seems like Cartagena.
But I am not in Cartagena. You know.
Yes, I know your neighbor.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, because in Cartagena it is it is really windy. I like it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, teacher, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Rafael. Okay, guys. So I think that we are going to start class right now because it is 8:05. We have here Sara, Tanya, Jaime, Carolina, Rafael. I think that Luis Carlos, Wilton.
Yes, teacher. Teacher, I want to give you a message from Luis Carlos. He's very sick and he was in the hospital today and he got, how do you say incapacidad?
Sick leave.
What?
Sick leave.
Okay, sick leave
Yeah,
for 2 days. So he's not going to be here.
yeah, has a sick leave, right?
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, don't worry about that.
Okay,
Eh,
teacher.
okay, I'm going to close my camera because I am very shy, you know. I am very shy. Okay, guys. So, do you remember what we discussed last class? What did we say? What conclusions did we get?
Yes, teacher.
Mhm.
We were going to take into account the reflection, the paragraph that we did in
Yeah.
order to create a better lesson plan, or let's improve what we saw that it was like a weakness. So we will
Mhm.
try to do it better in the second lesson plan.
Okay, right. And what happened with that? Could you incorporate it some changes?
It's It's
Correct.
been hard, but
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I'm trying to do it. At least in my case, I am trying to do it.
Okay, and what about the rest?
Oh, teacher, in my case, I am trying to complete more exercise and less speaking in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Okay.
the most yes.
Okay, but remember that the second lesson plan is for this week. Yeah?
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's,
yes.
it is for this Sunday, this coming Sunday. So I can read that next class or next week, sorry, no, next class. And you can implement what you have to do, right? You can implement what you have planned in your classes. But I really want you to pay attention to what you are doing. And the most important thing is that you can feel satisfied with what you are doing, and that you can feel or that you can find that your students are going to be satisfied with what you are doing. Okay, that's one of the most important things during the planning and during the class itself. Yep.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so now we are going to pass to the other activity that you had for this week, and it was no, for this week, for the last week, and it was a reading about teachers and a reading about classroom management. Yeah.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, right. So we are going to discuss a little bit about. I could see the answers of the quiz. Some of you got a very good score. Most of you got very good scores because it was very simple. But I want to discuss a little bit about that. Yep. So let's start with that. In the text, uh, research describes or try to describe what is a good teacher or what a good teacher means. So, what ideas could you get from that aspect of describing good teachers? What are some of the characteristics that you could take from that description of good teachers?
About the readings, we can say that it's a mix of personality, intelligence, knowledge, and experience. And the main factor is who we are as a person. Usually, the person who is a good person is a good professor, is a good. If the person is happy with being a teacher, for sure, everything that the person want to get will get it because he wanted to do it.
Okay, so according to what you say, Noemi, not everybody can be a teacher.
No, I think no, because you need to want and you need to have special characters, special
Uh,
features.
the special character.
A character, okay.
Yeah, special character. Okay, good. I agree with what you say. What else? What else did you find in the reading?
Mm,
What other characteristics do you find that could define a good teacher?
yes, respect the students.
About the
Um,
students?
yeah, I mean, need to be very respectful with the students. Need to have
Okay.
a certain proximity that allow the communication between the teacher and the student, like a certain, I don't know, intimacy. I don't know how to say.
Yes, but not that word.
not so much, in, in another way, no. I mean, the idea is the students feel
To be
confident and
close.
feel, yes, to feel confident to express what he wants to know or what he wants to get without feeling
Okay.
that controlled or he want. The idea is that the students express himself free.
So in that sense, what do you need, or what does a teacher need? What do a teacher need to do that? What do you think? We talk about personality, yes,
Mhm.
but what do we need? What else do we need? Because we are saying that we have to like have we need to have an environment in which students feel confident to speak and to do things and to express themselves. But how do we do that? What is the first thing that we have to do?
Maybe teacher, if you know about the subject you are teaching, you feel confident and you can transmit this confidence to the students. Can be.
Yeah, but I have a complaint with that.
Okay.
I agree, but I have a complaint with what you have said. And it is
Okay.
because you are focusing on the knowledge, on the content knowledge, right?
Okay.
But what happens? What else do we need? Uh,
Actually, when in the reading they talk about personality, they mention that teachers have to be like themselves. You have to be like a real person. You don't need to be like a model that maybe students have to
to
follow
follow?
everything that to follow all that you do. Actually, you have to show them like you are a person. Maybe you can make some mistakes, that you are real. And I don't know, that is
Yes,
something that I like reflect about the reading, because that happens to me.
very
Sometimes
good.
I get very stressed because I feel like I have like 40 eyes on me, and I have to be like perfect. I can't, I am not able to make a mistake or to do something wrong.
Very
That
good.
it's very stressful.
And that's true. That's very true. And it has to do with personality. So um, that was not my point, but anyway, it is very important what you say. When you
I
say
think
that,
I get the point. I think for
which is
example,
the point?
the teacher needs to be a good listener, and the teacher
Oh,
needs to know the students by their name, to know them, to have interest about each one of them, to make them feel different, to make feel that they are there, that they
exactly.
exist.
So what we need to know, or what we need to understand, is the particularities of our students. It is very necessary and important to have a very good relationship with them. Remember?
Mhm.
So this is
Yes.
very important, that you know the context of your students. I know that sometimes it's very complicated. For example, Carolina, she has 40 students. Or maybe Tanya, she has a lot of students as well. And I think that Noemi, I don't know how many students do you have,
I
but
have five courses, each one with 15 around.
okay, but that's not that much, believe me, Noemi. You are lucky.
Yes,
You are lucky.
but you need to run by each grade, so it's become a lot of students to know the name.
Yes, but imagine that. Okay, I remember when I worked at school like 10 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, I used to have 200 students.
Oh my god.
Yes, 5 courses, 40 people. It is more or less 200
Yes,
students.
teacher, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my voice. I'm a
You
little
are
sick.
sick too, Tanya?
Yes, a lot.
Oh my God! You have to take care of your throat, because you know that's your instrument. You
It's
know?
my
You are a
everything.
teacher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
please,
terrible. You
Mama.
have to take care, okay? So don't speak. If you want to write, write. But don't
Okay,
speak
teacher.
because it is not good.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
that is one of the reasons why teachers don't work more as a teacher because of the throat voice problem. And I am serious. This is I don't know how to say that in English. I forgot even in Spanish. Riesgos laborales,
Profesionales.
riesgos
Ajá,
profesionales. De los riesgos profesionales más altos de los profesores es la voz, la
la
pérdida de la
voz.
voz,
Y yo que soy
right?
cantante.
Imagine. So but you know how to take care of your voice.
Yes.
The problem is that teachers are not trained in that aspect. We don't know how to take care of our voice, or we don't know how to use our voice, right?
If you want, I can give you some points easily.
Yeah, maybe next class, or yes, could be next class.
Sure.
You can prepare something, taking care of our voices, because that's very important and necessary.
Will be a
Yeah.
pleasure, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much for your offer. Okay, so let's continue. We're analyzing what we read here. So personality is very important. We need to know our students by name. We need to call them by their names, and they are going to feel that they are someone. Okay, and pay attention by their names, not their last names. Okay, that's different. And also it has to do with the rapport. So what is rapport?
Teacher, the relation that the teacher have with the students, the good relations.
Is it only good?
Um, and the bad relation too.
Yes, it's the relation. Okay, the relationship that the students have with the teacher and the teacher has with the students. Okay, so it could be
Okay.
positive or it could be negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we expect is to have a positive rapport, right?
Right.
That's what we need in order to get that confidence that you were talking, in order to make our students that they are valuable, because this is very important. They need to feel they are valuable. Okay, so it is necessary. Okay, then we have to yes, we have talked about these aspects before, that we have to listen to our students, especially when we are planning, because sometimes we plan thinking about ourselves, or assuming that we know our students, but that's not totally true. Yeah, for example, in these regards, I would like to ask you about, do you remember that you did an exercise? You read about a project-based learning, and you did an exercise, and then you wrote a question, right? Do you remember that exercise?
Mm,
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember the question you wrote?
I remember that mine was about a campaign about how to take care of our planet, something like that.
Hmm.
I'm not sure, but I know that it's related to that topic.
Okay. And who else?
no, no me acuerdo.
Now.
I
Okay, guys.
remember that in my case, my
Sarah,
name
good
was.
evening.
I say good evening in the chat and nobody
Yes.
answer me.
No.
Okay.
Yes. Yes,
Uh,
you are right, but you haven't spoken. Okay, continue. Sorry.
yes, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Okay. Oh my God, I forgot my idea.
The
Okay.
question, the question.
I remember that my question was about to introduce or to improve the presentation inside in classroom through technology.
Mm,
But I thought this question thinking in public schools where usually don't use technology for to improve the classes, okay? Because maybe there are not resources or teacher doesn't like use technology because maybe he doesn't know anything about technology. So I think that it was my question.
Okay. Yes, and I remember some of your question, and um, I was asking to myself if you really thought about your students. I mean, I know that there are some projects or some ideas of projects, but I don't know if you really thought about your students' interests and your students' feelings. So we have to pay attention to that as well, right? What are those feelings? What are those interests they have? So we have to listen to them carefully and getting to know them very, very deeply, right? So it is very necessary. Yes,
Yes,
Sarah?
but I think in my case I taught on my students because
Yeah, but
the most students don't like to do, I don't know how do you say that, cartulinas,
yes,
to do presentation on papers, or they really like to enjoy the technology,
okay,
PowerPoint presentation
yes.
or photo videos. Is other way to create or improve the materials into the classroom.
Mm, okay, but maybe the question is not that clear.
Okay.
Maybe the question was not that clear for me. I mean, in terms of project, I understand the intention and I understand the topic. But in some of the cases, and I can say in most of the cases, your questions are kind of far from being questions for projects. So you have to be careful about that. Okay? Right. Okay, let's continue after this comment. Right. Now, according to this, we have to pay a. I would like to see this in your classes. I mean, when you are performing, when you are teaching in your classes, I would like to see these kind of things, the rapport that you have with your students, the communication, interaction that you have with your students, how you use uh, their interests in order to improve, of to have them feel more confident and getting involved in the class. So that's very important for me, right? And I would like you to pay attention to this. Okay, now I am going to share my screen and we are going to watch a video. Okay, throughout this video, the teacher is going to explain some things. I would like you to think about those aspects he's mentioning in terms of language teachers. I mean, you are English language teachers, so think about those aspects in those terms. Yeah, so I'm going to share this thing here, share computer. Right. Let's see. The name of the video is What Makes a Good Teacher. A good teacher, great. That's the name of the video. Okay? So please tell me if you listen to the video.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So let's go.
I'm obsessed with the question, what makes a good teacher great? I've collected 26,000 responses to this question in 8 different schools, from the poor schools in Los Angeles to suburban schools in Texas to elite private schools abroad. And after 24 years of teaching students, I'm still perplexed by this question. Today, I'm going to teach you the lessons I learned from those thousands of students and learn what I found out from them if we just listen to students. The thing about it is that during my time of asking kids this question, I realized that we don't ask this question for a particular reason. Schools are afraid. Based on fear, they don't really want to know what kids think, partially because they don't think kids will take it serious. I'm going to share with you one of the most profound quotes, answers to this question that I ever received. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't this prove my point? Great teachers eat apples. When I first saw this, I dismissed it as silliness. But it appeared again and again. So I thought there's got to be something to this. But what are they trying to tell me? So one day I decided I would start eating apples. I ate them in the morning, at lunch, during class, in the hall. Kids began to give me apples. They'd see me eating them and say, "You're eating an apple." I know. They would smile, and I would smile back. It wasn't until I understood that kids wanted to see me as somebody who was willing to receive a gift from them, that the apple was a symbol for our relationship. There was goodness in that and trust. But for a long time, I wasn't listening, and I hadn't understood this. They have their own language. When they say a great teacher is chill, what they really mean is don't take it too serious. Be calm in all situations. Don't get overwhelmed. They have a way of speaking to us about what they really want to tell us, but we have to listen. Right? I'm the father of 2 grown kids. They're out of school now and in college. But when they were at home and they were teenagers, I had to learn a whole new language. When they would come home from school, I might ask them, "How was your day?" And they would say, "Fine." Which usually meant, it was not bad, it's pretty good. Nothing happened eventful. I probably learned something, maybe I didn't. But if they came home and said, "Fine," what they meant was, it wasn't really great, but don't ask me because you wouldn't understand anyways. If I asked them how their day was and they said, "Okay," what they were trying to tell me was that it wasn't good at all, and you should probably ask me more questions, but don't expect me to answer. Kids have their own language. They have their own way of thinking. They want us to think like them and understand what's inside of their head. They have so many ways of thinking that things are great. They want us to see the world inside of them. But they don't want us to act like them. They want us to be calm and protect them and keep them safe. Kids have a way of communicating, and adults just haven't spent the time listening. But what if we did? What if we really listened deeply to students? One of the things I noticed after all the years of collecting these responses is that there's patterns that emerge. When I asked the question, what makes a good teacher great? Oftentimes I heard, a great teacher loves to teach. 70% of the time, the quote or the answer that followed was, a great teacher loves to learn. The reason this is significant is they don't see this happening. They don't see teachers learning in front of them. They see them teaching, but they wish they would learn along with them. Think about it. Principals hire teachers to be content experts, to have all of the knowledge, not to be learners. But what if they did? What if you showed up in the classroom and the teacher had something prepared and said, I don't know exactly what we're going to do today, but I can't wait to learn with you? Or that they saw their teacher struggle through something they didn't actually know and then eventually discovered the answer. Kids want to be inspired by this idea that learning is important, but they don't see it in schools. When I saw this quote, "A great teacher isn't a teacher," I actually was a little bit offended. What do you mean? I'm a teacher. They're like, we know. What they were trying to tell me is, a great teacher isn't in the classroom. Think about it. Think about a time that you have some enduring understanding, a time when you learned something that you still remember and use to this day, like throwing a baseball or riding a bike. I remember learning to ride a bike from my mom when I was 5 years old. She took off the training wheels of my bike. She got behind me and began to push. And we ran until she finally let go and I began to ride a bike. That's what I did. That's how I learned to ride a bike. I can still ride a bike to this day from that moment. But can you imagine if I tried to learn a bike from my mom in a classroom? What it would look like? Son, first, you need to learn all the parts of a bike. There's pedals and a crank, and there's a chain that turns the wheel. You have to give significant force. Once the force has enough momentum and you can keep your balance, that's how a bike works. I want you to learn all the parts, be able to label them and draw them. Then you're going to learn and write a research paper about the history of bike riding. All the important elements, the adventure, the developments of bikes. And at the end of that, you're going to take a final examination. If you pass and get an A, you can ride a bike. At 5 years old, I think I would have said, never mind, I'll just walk. This is exactly what we do to children. We put them in a classroom and tell them, this is what I want you to learn. It's important, do it. And kids know that it's not true, that we don't really value learning this way. So no wonder they're disruptive or bored or disengaged. Kids want us to be teachers that aren't teachers. I want to tell you a story about Yvette. A great teacher understands that they have a life outside of school. They really do. They want us to know that their life in school is way more different than the life outside of school. I just thought, well, how hard is your life? Your job is to do school. My job is to teach. Yvette was a tough student. She was feisty, and she had an infamous reputation. She walked around with a jacket to prove it. Whenever she walked around, the kids would follow. She would come in and sit in the front row and lean just so she could make eye contact to intimidate me. She would call me Mister and not even use my full name. When she'd get up to go to the bathroom, all the girls would follow. Eventually, I learned from Yvette what she needed to learn. And I thought I became pretty good at what I was doing. I noticed one day she stopped turning in her homework, which she had become a great leader in the classroom. She turned in her homework. She participated in class. She actually was quite good. So when this happened, I was surprised. So I went up to her and said, Yvette, I'm very disappointed in you. She said, I know, mister, I'm sorry. I expected and turned in tomorrow. Tomorrow came, and just a few sheets of unfinished work were turned in. I also went up to her and said, Yvette, this is disappointing. She said, I normally do my homework in the bathroom because it's the quietest place in my house. But this week the electricity was turned off, and it's dark in there. I had a candle, but it burnt out, and I'm sorry. She gazed down, not her prideful self. I had missed the point. I had not listened when she said, I'm trying, mister. I heard the words, but I didn't listen. Great teachers notice when there's a struggle. They don't make assumptions about what kids can and cannot do. They wait and watch, and they rescue them when they're stuck. Good teachers hear them, but they don't listen. I'll never forget Yvette. I'm grateful because whenever I see an answer of a student like that, I remember her, and I listen. This was the most perplexing answer I think I ever received. It happened every year for 10 years. At least one student would put this. A great teacher sings. What are they talking about? I can't sing. So I started saying, wait a second. What do they mean? It wasn't until Danny turned it in as one of his responses. He was the class clown. You know, he was the one that when we took a class picture, he put your fingers behind your head. He would make faces at me during lectures so I would laugh. Everything was a joke to Danny. So when he turned in his responses, and they were all serious and actually really good, I was surprised when this showed up in the middle. But I knew there was something to it. I just didn't know what. So the next day, I put the agenda on the board, listing all the activities of the day, the expectations, and the homework. And instead of actually reading them, very seriously, I sang. In operatic style, big as I could. The eyes of the students were wide, their mouths dropped. But you know what happened? At the end of that, I expected pointing and laughing. But the classroom erupted in cheers and applause. There was a standing ovation. I could not believe it. At the end of class, they walked out, gave me high fives and handshakes, and here came Danny. He walked in, and he leaned in and patted me on the shoulder and said, I told you a great teacher sings. Great teachers make themselves humble before their students. They take risks. They put aside their fear to try. They trust that they're going to be supported if they fail. But they don't see this. They see experts, remember? Content experts. What if we hired teachers not to be deep understanding of content, knowledge keepers, but deep understanders of students? How our schools would change and transform. But it's no wonder students don't care, or that teachers don't really listen, because they've never been taught. But what if we did listen? You see, we spend 3 years of a student's life teaching students to read. About 12 years of those students' life teaching them to write. Maybe if they're lucky, they get a semester or half a year learning to public speak. But they get virtual 0 years of formal listening instruction. 0. Think about it. When was the last time you were at a dinner party and someone asked the question, so, what do you do for a living? And this response was, oh, I'm a listening teacher. I teach advanced listening at the high school, advanced listening communications, or beginning listener for elementary. We don't hear this because we just don't believe it in schools. It's important. Though in the world, listening is one of the #1 skills essential for business and life, and we just don't teach it. We need to listen to our students. In our classrooms are the future. The Maya Angelous, the Mother Teresas, the Elon Musks of the world. And can you imagine if we took the time to ask those students what would make a good teacher great? And then we actually listened. We could transform schools and education. Thank you.
Okay, that was the video. Now, I would like you to do like a relation of what you hear in here, you listen to here, and what you read. So could you find any commonality, anything that you could say it is more or less the same or is related? Yes or
Yes,
no?
teacher, it's related because
Yeah,
because because the person speak about the recognizing students, uh, speak about listening students and respecting students and um,
Okay, Jaime, thank you. That's good. Sarah, you were about to speak.
yes, but it's the same idea to Jaime. I going to uh, tell about the listening to the students. I think it's the main um, homework or
Task.
yes for us as a teacher.
Okay.
I think
He.
is
Yes.
Teacher,
and one the important thing on the video said this guy said that we have to teach how listening
How
other
to
people.
listen.
Yeah, how exactly and in yeah, I forget something. In the schools are not prepared people for that
We are not
to
preparing
listen.
people.
Yes, exactly.
Very good. Oh, Noemi.
yes, teacher. What I want to say is that if we want that our students listen to us, first of all, we need to listen to them because teaching is a communication art. If it's not just giving content, is an interaction, is an communication interaction. And second, we have an entire society that doesn't know how to listen, not just in the school and everywhere if you are walking in the street, no, the people don't want to listen because they are busy all the time. The people, or we also, we don't want to listen because we think that is more important what we are doing in the moment that listen exactly what is happening around us.
Okay, very
So
good. Yeah.
yes, teacher.
Okay. So, and talking about that aspect, he mentioned that we teachers used to hear our students, but not listening. What is the difference?
The care, because you need to care about what you are listening, not just mm, waiting. No, have an interaction. You need to have an
hmm
interaction to make feel that you care
Okay,
about what you are listening.
very good. And what do you think about the experience he said related to this little or to this girl? Do you remember? What was the lesson that we can get from that? Do you remember that when he explained that this girl used to do homework in her bathroom?
Yes.
So what is the lesson?
uh, teacher about the reading.
No, I am talking about the video.
Okay, teacher.
She was doing the homework in the bathroom because it's the only silent place at home.
Yes. So what do we get from that experience? Not from the experience of the girl, but from the responses of the teacher. Do you remember what did he say to her when she didn't
I
bring the
didn't
homework
understand the word.
completed?
No, I didn't understand that word for the reason I didn't understand.
Okay, I'm going to repeat it. Guys, let me see where is the video. Here. Maybe it's in here.
Life outside of school. I just thought, well, how hard is your life? Your job is to do school. My job is to teach. I even use my full name. When she get up to go to the bathroom, all the
Okay, this is the
just to,
experience.
and she had an infamous reputation.
This one.
Yvette was a tough student. She was feisty, and she had an infamous reputation. She walked around with the jacket to prove it. Whenever she walked around, the kids would follow. She would come in and sit in the front row and lean just so she could make eye contact to intimidate me. She would call me Mister and not even use my full name. When she get up to go to the bathroom, all the girls would follow. Eventually, I learned from Yvette what she needed to learn. And I thought I became pretty good at what I was doing. I noticed one day she stopped turning in her homework, which she had become a great leader in the classroom. She turned in her homework. She participated in class. She actually was quite good. So when this happened, I was surprised. So I went up to her and said, Yvette, I'm very disappointed in you. She said, I know, mister, I'm sorry. I expected and turned in tomorrow. Tomorrow came, and just a few sheets of unfinished work were turned in. I also went up to her and said, Yvette, this is disappointing. She said,
Okay, so far, what is the attitude of the teacher in here about the situation? Do you pay attention? What
Yes,
was he
he's
interested in?
in listen her.
No. So far, in this part of the story.
He was disappointed because she didn't do the homework and 2 times, all the time. So he was trying to speak with her to
Yes.
to let her know that this is not good.
Yes, about the homework. So he was
Yes,
focusing on the task. He was focusing
yes,
on the homework, right?
yes, yes.
So let's listen.
that I normally do my homework in the bathroom because it's the quietest place in my house. But this week the electricity was turned off and it's dark in there. I had a candle, but it burnt out, and I'm sorry. She gazed down, not her prideful self. I had missed the point. I had not listened when she said, I'm trying, mister. I heard the words, but I didn't listen. Great teachers notice.
Right? So in this case, what is his attitude after listening to her? What happens? And what is the reflection?
Yes, he in that
He feels
moment
sorry.
Yeah,
yes, but himself, because he needs to know, he just cae en cuenta, no sé cómo decir, that he needs to
realize.
care about what she says. Yes, she needs to realize that she's a person with problems and he didn't pay attention to her.
Right. And he was focusing only on the
The
task.
task. Yeah, he
Yes,
wasn't he wasn't like taking into account or considering like what was the situation of the student at home, or maybe yeah, like the problems or context, or I don't know, situations that maybe the student has.
Yeah, very good. And he says that he felt disappointed, and it is a very strong word, right?
yes,
Yes, imagine you telling your students you are disappointed with them, but you don't even know what are the situations they are living or they are facing.
yes.
So he makes a
Yeah.
reflection here, and he says we have to listen and we have to pay attention more on the person than on the academy itself.
I think teacher maybe not in the person. I think in the attitude of the student. He wants to do it, even if his or her skills are not enough at the moment. He wants to do it.
Yes, but when I say pay attention to the person, I mean is to focus as educators or as teachers on the person. I
To
mean,
be human.
yes,
Yes,
on the human aspect, right?
yes,
So I think that this is one of the things he tried to say. His name is Azul. Okay, it's very strange, but his name is Azul.
Very good.
Yeah, and another thing that he says is that we have to listen. Apart from listening, we have to pay attention to the way we teach. Right? Do you remember the example of the bicycle? Did you
Yes.
understand? What is the meaning of that example?
Maybe that her mother, he always remembered that her mother cared about
His
him
mother.
when he was learning, so it was important for him
Yeah, but what is the implication of the example?
What example?
because he
Sorry.
was doing practical, not the father start not to teach what is the what are the parts of the bicycle. No, he was living the experience.
Okay. Do you
The
remember the?
confidence that the mother gives to the son
Yeah.
or to encourage do
Ah,
the the exercise. No, the exercise. No, the activity on the reading on the bike. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
she
His
believes in
mother
him.
is
Continue,
Terry.
Sarah.
his mother is all the time carefully him
Taking
careful him
care.
Taking.
taking care of him, yeah, but as a mother she knows that he needs to get confidence in himself, so
Yeah.
the teacher needs the same or to be in the same situation with the students.
Okay, I agree with you with the aspect of confidence, but I also think that the example goes towards a different perspective. If we talk,
Could be
if we think,
teacher.
yes, Wilton.
Sorry. Good evening. I think maybe could be I couldn't understand well the video because my internet connection is a little bit is bothering. But I think is the point of that idea could be when we are as or we're doing something like that in our classrooms, because sometimes we are many methodics or we take some things and specific things and the students are saying what's this for, so I need to learn the specific idea. And sometimes we took some technical expressions or technical ways to do the class, and he's advising or he's saying is not the way we have to do. We have to 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 take or to think more about them and what they need and why and how they learn or how they can get better things
Yeah.
that doing many things that maybe don't help them to
Okay.
get the point.
Very good. And that's a very good point. And additionally, pay attention to the example itself. He mentioned that he learned how to ride a bicycle with his mother, but his mother didn't explain anything about the bicycle, right? Or
Yes.
what is the dynamics of riding the bicycle? Nothing about physics, for example, right? That it is very important. Physics is very important to ride a bicycle, but she didn't explain anything. And he said, if I had had to study about the physics or all the things, the parts of the bicycle, how they work, and so on and so forth, uh, before starting riding the bicycle, I wouldn't have started riding a bicycle,
Mm.
Me
Yeah.
too.
right? Nobody,
Yeah.
because he was 5 years old and he learned through the experience, right? Now, pay that example in our context, in the language teaching context. What are we doing? No, I'm when I say we, I don't mean you, but We is a general term. What are we doing, teachers, to teach the language?
Explaining grammar at the beginning.
Hmm.
This kills
Yes, most
the
of the time we
students.
are doing the same. We are doing the
Yes,
same. We're
Kills
explaining
the
them
students.
different ways to do some, but we are not taking them to the real life or to the real use the language.
exactly.
Teach-
That's one
Teacher,
of the points.
or maybe we need to pay attention to the students' reactions when we teach uh, any any topic.
Yes, any topic. But why do you say that, Jaime?
For example, is we teach every day the same thing day after day, students boring. But
The
if
problem is, I think, mm, I think that one of the problems is how we assume teaching, you know, because we are assuming teaching as that part of giving them all the tools, all the parts, right? So you are assuming like that, but it is not.
mm,
You know what I mean? It's like you're assuming teaching as in the example of this the speaker of Azul. You're assuming teaching as if you were giving them all the parts and they have to construct, right? That's one of the problems. Yeah, but we have to assume teaching also from the other side. I mean, we have to pay attention to what our students know and how they can improve what they know, but we don't need necessarily give them, we don't need to give them all the things for they to construct. They can construct or deconstruct on their own, little by little. That's the problem, or that's the issue. I understand that sometimes it is difficult because it is easier for us to go to the class and to start working with vocabulary, and then we go to grammar, and after grammar we start doing the speaking. But doing the thing the other way around is very complicated for us, right? To start speaking and then we start doing other kind of things in order to understand what we did is very complicated. I know, but that's our challenge. That is one of the challenges that we have. Not in this course, maybe, but in our lives, right?
Yes, teacher. I
Yes.
agree.
You agree? Okay,
Yes,
that's good.
teacher. Because sometimes, as last or maybe in a week and a half ago, I was talking to one of my students, and it happens to me when I ask her, why didn't you bring your homework, and she told me I couldn't, and I didn't listen to her. And at the end of the class, she was talking to another friend, and she was telling her why she didn't and she and her sisters throw her notebook in a van truck, or how do we say volqueta. So that's why
Yeah.
she didn't her tax, but I didn't hurt her. When I listened to that, I felt disappointed
With yourself.
about myself.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, that's true. Right. Okay, so what lessons do you gather from the reading and from the video? What lessons could you gather, and what things do you think? But I don't want you to say things that you think I want to listen. I want to listen to you what you really think. What things do you think you can implement or you can incorporate in your lesson plans and in your classes?
Maybe at the end of the lessons, always to ask to the students how they feel and what they will change about the experience, or also to open a corner with what they want to do in the year, so maybe we can adapt it into the lessons of the any period or something like that.
Okay, very good idea. Any other thing? Any other?
Teacher, can you hear me?
Yes.
Last year I tried to, in the school, we tried to implement something that related with what Noemi just said. At the end of the class, we had like a small blackboard, like on one wall of the classroom, and the students like evaluate our classes. They put like faces, different faces about like how did they feel during the class or the activities that we developed. And actually we asked them like what do you want to do on our next English class or science class. And actually it was nice, but at the end we feel like we weren't taking that into account. Like okay, it was a wonderful activity that students evaluate our classes, but we weren't taking into account like the yeah, like their interests. So that was kind of like a good option, but I don't know, I think that we couldn't like achieve the objective that this activity. So maybe try to implement that again and see what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, and one of the problems is that your students are going to see that those kind of activities are worthless, right? So because they don't see any change, and they didn't see anything that you do in terms of doing what they wanted to do, and it is going to be worthless, right? And
So
they are going to
teacher,
feel disappointed. Yes, Noemi?
Yes.
maybe we can put this idea of the corner ideas. Maybe we can speak with with the school, or to put them into our curriculum. So in that moment, we give time to the activity. So for sure we will do it because we incorporate it into the classes. So we need to manage this from the administration of the school to put one special space to do their activities.
Yeah, if it is possible, you can do it. But when it is not possible, you have to handle that in your classrooms, right?
Yes.
With your students. So there is not any option, right? Any other option? Because sometimes, as we have discussed before, the thing that administrators or directives of the school want and are looking for are results. They are not expecting to have okay, as the teacher says, people who cares about people, but people who knows a lot and teach a lot, right? And get results. That's one of the things. Yeah. So sometimes it happens with the schools, but if you find a school in which you can do that thing, it is good. It's going to be perfect. Okay. Any other thing?
Teacher, I don't know if this is going to be like convenient. That is the correct word.
Yep.
maybe I don't know, because we know that we have to keep the focus of the school and the curriculum and all this. Maybe, like, I don't know, maybe show to students the topics and the contents that we are going to see during a unit or a term or the whole year, and maybe like do a brainstorming with them about how do they think they can learn those topics. And maybe I don't know, like, yeah, like listen to their proposals. No, I don't know if that would be like right, or that would be the correct way to do it.
I think that it is a very, very good way. And actually, Carolina, I have to confess that this is what I have insist I have insisted for a long time. You listen,
Teacher,
you to listen to your students.
Okay, so that will be, and that will be possible. I don't know, maybe like,
Yeah,
okay, we have to see this during the unit. In my school, we work for units. So,
yeah,
okay, guys, we're going to check these topics. We're going to talk about verbs in past, blah 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 blah. And what do you think we can do with these contents? I don't know.
exactly.
I think
That's
that
a
that
very
will
good
be
idea.
okay.
Yes, excellent. Okay, and the rest, what do you think?
teacher, I remember that in the teacher's readings, say that we don't know always need to explain exactly what we are going to do in classes. If we want to maintain an element surprising into
Mm-hmm.
the lesson plan, or try to do another activities, but no always to say the activities to the students in order to surprise them, or I don't know, another special thing for them.
Yeah, but what is your point, Sarah? That's true.
No, that I remember that. So
Okay.
according with Carolina said, or according with this topic, I remembered this
Yes,
situation.
but the fact that you ask your students about what give me suggestions about how to deal with this, what would you like to do, and those kind of things. It doesn't mean that you don't need to prepare other kind of activities and that you don't surprise them. And I agree, you have to keep something to you or for you, sorry, in order to give them like that special touch that belongs to you because you are the teacher, right? And you have to make decisions at the end. Yep, not everything has to do with students or with the
Yeah.
students' decision. And I agree with that. You are the teachers. However, we have to listen to the students. Sorry a second. There is an annoying sound of a motorcycle. So you have to pay attention to your students just to wait a second. Okay, hacen un montón de ruido para parquear una moto. Okay, that's terrible. Okay, so you have to listen to your students just to incorporate some ideas and they feel recognized. That is one of the things, right? They need to feel recognized. They need to feel acknowledged. They need to feel that you take them into account. So it is something important, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other point? Any other comment?
No, teacher.
Okay, guys.
Teacher,
So yes, yeah, Wilton.
teacher, I just want to ask you something, but it's apart from this topic.
Okay, so I'm going to close it and then you
Yes.
ask, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so as we have finished this with the teacher, we missed the part of classroom management. We are going to work on the classroom management next class, okay? That aspect of the classroom management. You read that part as well, right?
Yes,
Yes.
teacher.
Yes,
Yes.
okay, good. So we are going to deal with those classroom management next time, next session. And remember that in your lesson plan, okay, to do your lesson plan, please. Remember, please remember to write the population you are working with. I know that the form doesn't have that information or doesn't ask that information, but I need to know, okay? The ages, the number of students, the level that they have, more or less, those kind of information that is going to give me a clue about who they are. Yep. Okay, and the lesson plan, and after the lesson plan, the video. Okay, right, good. So Wilton, are you there? Wilton,
Maybe he waits for you to finish.
yeah.
Okay.
No, he has some problems with his internet. We didn't listen to.
Yes.
I just wanted to know if you
Wilton, I
can
think
you
that it is going to be better if you write it because we
hear
don't understand.
me? Hello, hello.
Okay, now Wilton, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yes, go. Wilton, Wilton left. Wilton, write your question.
Teacher, when are you going to review this second plan? Because in my case, I'm not sure, but in my case, I think that I have to record the video the next week because with those students, I do the classes about
Okay.
Saturdays. So
So
then
please send me a reminder, sorry, send me a reminder on Monday and I can check yours on Monday.
okay.
Okay. I can do it
Okay.
on Monday, but I don't know if I have the time in the afternoon, but I try. Okay, because I
Okay.
have the other
Okay.
class. We are
Teacher,
closing with
Okay.
the
I
other
have a
class.
question.
Thank you.
Yes, Rafael.
Sorry, for interrupt. Teacher. It's about the grade of the first class, the video. I don't know if you have scored it yet because I don't
No,
have
I am
the.
in the process, man.
Okay, well,
Yes,
it was just
because
no. I didn't know. I thought that you that it was a problem with my score because it doesn't appear, but well, I understand.
okay, right. Remember that I told you that I have a little behind, so I am trying to catch up.
Don't worry, teacher. No, teacher, don't worry about it. It's just I just wanted to know, but don't worry, don't
Yeah,
worry.
okay. I think that you
I
missed.
understand.
I think that you only need. I need to check that and another one. Only two,
Yeah,
but the rest are there.
yeah,
The
teacher.
rest of
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
grades.
know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry, teacher. And I understand completely you're behind and well, all that kind of things.
Sorry
Thank you
for
very
that.
much. No, teacher. You don't have to apologize.
Yes, I
Have
have to.
a good night, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, Rafael. Let's wait. Wilton, are you writing?
No, teacher.
So speak.
Okay, teacher. I just wanted to know if I can record the next class or my futures class in advance, if it's possible, because I'm applying for a new job, and it's in a ship. I'm going to be maybe for 30 days in the sea or 30 days on the earth. I don't know if we can say that because I need to record my next classes in advance. But if
Both
it's
classes?
possible, well, the next class or for this week, I'm gonna do a next class, but the last class I think Is
The
just that.
third one. The third one.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, teacher.
let me know when you are going to do it and send me the lesson plan before. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Yes, teacher.
Right.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Thank
Right.
you. Okay.
Okay.
So bye bye.
And to finish, remember that we are trying to reflect and writing reflections about the lesson planning and those kind of things. For the next lesson plan and for the next recording, please start thinking who you are as a teacher. Taking into account these readings, taking into account the video, taking into account our discussion in this class, start thinking who you are as a teacher. Who defines you as a teacher? Or what defines you as a teacher? Right? So that's going to be the topic of our next reflection after the video. Yep. Okay, guys. So I think that it is all. I am going to close the class right now. See you next Thursday at the same time and everything. Okay? Okay. Good
Okay,
night.
thank you. Have a
Okay.
night.
Good
Good
night,
night, teacher.
everybody.
Good
Bye.
night,
Bye
Good night,
everyone.
bye.
teacher. Bye bye.